Good morning. My name is Dr. Don Wicker, and I'm here today to talk to you about organizational behavior. This is the third in our lecture series, and today we're going to talk about perception and attributions in organizational behavior. What do we mean when we talk about perception and attributions? Well, in this video, we're going to describe the elements of perceptual process. We're going to look at the main factors that influence what individuals perceive. We're going to identify factors that determine how a person perceives another. And we're going to look at the primary attributes. Let me repeat that. We're going to look at the primary errors in perception that people have. And then finally, we're going to explain and wrap it up with the attributions that influence behavior. In the perceptual process, what are we referring to? Well, objects in a person's environment is what we believe a person's perception is formed by. Of course, observations, the perceptual selection process, the perceptual organization, interpretations, and response. What are those responses that makes us interpret behavior differently? External factors in the selective screening process, we have several factors. We have size, we have intensity, we have contrast, motion, repetition, and familiarity. Think about that in the selective screening process. All those factors are involved. The internal factors in selective screening, we have personality, learning, which involves the perceptual set, and we have motivation, which involves the Pollyanna principle, and of course the Pollyanna principle only looks at positive events that forms a perception. What are the common perceptual errors? When you think about common perceptual errors, we're talking about accuracy of judgment. If you're not accurate, you can't perceive a situation to be what it is. You also have the perceptual defense. You have stereotyping, which is also involved in the common perceptual errors. We also have the halo effect, which involves the self-fulfilling prophecy. We have projection, and we have role of culture. But let's take a look at the halo effect. The halo effect involves self-fulfilling prophecy. And of course, if we treat a situation or a person as we believe it should be, that's the results that we're going to receive. What are the examples of the attribution based on differing perceptions of a performance? Let's think about a manager's behavior towards a strong performer. What does the manager do? Well, that manager is going to give that performer better decision-making power. It's going to give that performer better opportunities, better challenges. And if that performer doesn't meet expectations, well, that's going to be a learning opportunity. That's based on a strong performer. What does the manager do if they have a weak performer? Just the opposite. They give that person less decision-making responsibility and more supervision, and the tasks are basically going to be routine, not going to be as challenging. Finally, let's look at the guidelines for dealing with the attribution applications of being fired. What happens when a person is being fired? How is that situation perceived? And if you think along the lines, you would have to work through that situation of being fired psychologically. You'd have to find out or determine what went wrong in that situation in order to improve that situation. And of course, work with a former employer in developing an exit statement. And finally, avoid the negative attributions as part of the explanation of being fired. And that basically summarizes lecture series number 3. We were looking at perceptions and attributions in organizational behavior. I want to thank you for your time, and I look forward to talking to you again in lecture series number 4.